college football, week 4. We have start off college football week 4. We have Maryland heading to number 4 Michigan. Michigan is 17-point favorites. Over under sitting at 64.5. Congratulations to Michigan not being 30-point favorites. Let's give a round of applause. Woo! You're playing someone.
Yeah, they are. It should be a decent test, although since Harbaugh took over the Michigan job in 2015, he is 6-0 against Maryland with a cumulative score of 291-59. It has not been close. Yeah, they have handled Maryland. I think we talked about this a couple times this year with Maryland. I mean, their offense scores a lot of points. We don't know what Michigan's defense is. They haven't played anybody. I'm a little, I would say, nervous for this game.
Like, it's just one of those things that I'm not saying Michigan's going to lose, but it's just one of those things that does Maryland score 17 points in that first half for somehow?
It scares Michigan straight a little bit.
And it's like Michigan's down 17-7, we'll say. Okay, then all of a sudden Michigan puts up 30 unanswered points on them.
Right. So that's something I can see happening. Like, I can see, like, let's say Maryland gets the ball first. They go down like 9 plays and score. Michigan's like, well, we have not been here before. Maryland's running backs are averaging 9 yards per carry. That's up there, leading the nation. But also Maryland's defense is horrible. They've allowed 661 yards passing and 6 touchdowns in their last 2 games. So I expect Michigan to exploit that secondary. And I also have, I don't know if it's a bold prediction, but I do have a prediction. I think after this game, we'll see J.J. McCarthy rise to a top 3 Heisman contender after this game. I think he'll be in that discussion after this game. I think he's going to ball out. Would you like the over in this one?
Yes.
I do too. I do. Because I don't think it's going to be like a 42-0 game.
No, I mean, I think Maryland's offense is pretty good to where I think they can get at least 7-14.
I agree with that.
And I can see Michigan getting 42 or more.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Possible.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's one of those things, like after the first quarter, it could be closer on the scoreboard than it is on, like, the game will be closer than what it actually is. Like, it'll feel like Michigan's up by a lot more than what they are, and it'll still be like 13-6, 14-7, but, Michigan's trending. I don't know. We'll see. It's another one of those games. Michigan, again, they're 17-point favorites. They should win. I expect them to win. I would also take Michigan covering in this game. Backdoor cover. They might. I mean, I don't like the first. Like, they're not going to be up 7.
The number sucks. I don't like the number, but I mean, if I do, I am leaning towards Michigan.
Yeah.
In this one with the 17, so
especially just with the history. I mean, being outscored 291-59.
Yeah, no,
but again, Maryland's a better team this year, so I don't know. But I agree. I don't know.
So Michigan minus 17 over 65.
Yeah, I like that. Minnesota at Michigan State. Michigan State trying to rebound after a tough loss at Washington last week. Minnesota is the favorite on the road at -3. The over-under is at 51.
Love the under. I'm not going to touch the Palm spread until I know
the injury report.
Jay Reed's out, I think, or at least I haven't heard anything about him.
He hasn't been updated yet.
And
you know what I mean?
Like Michigan State's D tackle, I don't know about if he's playing, and yeah, we'll see about both of them. Just because I think Minnesota's run the game can help them win this game.
Yeah, they've scored 20 offensive touchdowns this year, but have only allowed 17 points all year. Granted, haven't really played anybody. We'll see. I think for Michigan State to win this game, they got to keep Minnesota's running back Mo Ibrahim at bay to win this. He's going to be an NFL guy. He's one of the better running backs in the Big Ten. I think if they keep him at bay, they have a chance. But they cannot get torched. Their secondary cannot get torched. What should help isn't Minnesota out with their top receiver? He's out of
Minnesota's top receiver is out for the rest of the season.
Yeah, so that should help State, contain a little bit. I will tell you this. I don't love Minnesota -3 on the road at Michigan State. Mel Tucker's proven in his time there. He's a pretty decent coach, and I would expect he was probably pretty ticked after how they played in Washington. I'd expect State to come out and throw the kitchen sink at Minnesota and get this one done, but I'm not going to touch it. I will watch it, not going to touch it, but my gut tells me State +3.
Yeah, that's where I'll lean if I'm talking about the spread, and I would lean State +3, but I still love the under.
Yeah, I like the under too. Under 6, under 51? I like that, and I agree. This is one of those things, guys. It's Thursday at the time of recording. The injury report hasn't come out yet. Got to wait and see if Jalen Reed and that D tackle from State are going to play, because those are two impact players on both sides of the ball.
I agree.
Next game, number 22, Texas at Texas Tech. What do you got here?
Texas is 7-point favorites. Over/under sitting at 61.
The Lone Star Showdown.
I love the name of this rivalry. There's one game that I will always remember of this rivalry, even though it's been in Texas court the past couple years. It was like earlier 2000s, maybe mid to late, like towards the 2010s, when Michael Crabtree was at Texas Tech.
Oh, that was such a good game.
A shootout game. I still remember the play. Ball got thrown over to Crabtree on the right side of the field. Texas DB overran it. Crabtree shook him off, went in.
He grabbed
scored.
his jersey and got
Yup.
loose. Yeah.
Scored, and I think that was like the game-winning touchdown.
It was the game-winning touchdown. I remember
Michael
that.
Crabtree went off.
Yeah, he was such a good college receiver. He had an okay NFL career with the Niners and some other teams, but he was
the Raiders too.
Yeah, he was such a good college wide receiver. There's some notes for this game. Like we said, Texas going on the road to Texas Tech. Texas won 41-20 over UTSA last week, but it was a lot closer than it looks. They only led by 4 points late in the third quarter. Texas Tech, though, does have 7 interceptions in their first 3 games. Over/under at 60. I think it should be well over 60.
Oh, it's way, yeah. I agree with this.
In the last 4 games in this rivalry, Texas alone has averaged 55.8 points per game. And also, Texas running back Bijan Robinson last week had 3 touchdowns for over 200 yards. I expect him to run rampant. Although there are a lot of people that are saying Texas Tech's offense is a problem. The thing is, in these rivalry games, things just happen and points are just scored. I expect this to be a banger. Yeah, I expect this to be a banger, but I do like Texas -7.
Texas -7 over 61 is what I'm taking. This next game, I kind of love it. Number 5.
Can I tell them what it is?
Number 5, let me get into it. Jesus, I didn't say I love the game and then say why I love it like I usually do.
That's why I was just giving you shit.
So number 5, Clemson heading to number 21, Wake Forest. Clemson is 7-point favorites. Over/under sitting at 55.5. What are you thinking about this game?
So I did quite a bit of research on this game because
That's good.
Yeah, not that it's probably going to help. Probably still end up going 1-9. Clemson has started slow all year. They beat Georgia Tech 41-10, but it was a 14-10 game with only 21 minutes left. Dude, I'll strip you again. Better tuck that ball. And the same thing happened against Louisiana Tech. Clemson was only up 13-6 at halftime and eventually won 48-20. However, Dabo Swinney is 13-0 in his career versus Wake Forest. That's kind of an interesting note to keep in mind. He's had Wake Forest's number his whole career. So far this year, Wake Forest has the 5th lowest rushing grade among Power 5 schools, according to PFF, Pro Football Focus. And last week, Wake Forest only averaged 0.8 yards per carry, and they almost lost to Liberty in that game. Thus, we can say Wake Forest is obviously a very one-dimensional team. So as long as Clemson can stop the pass, I like their chances here. And that's why I have the matchup to watch in this game is Wake Forest's passing game versus Clemson's defense. Wake Forest's quarterback, Sam Hartman, future NFL guy. He has a 91.6 PFF grade since 2021, and that's the 4th highest among Power
5?
Yeah, he's the 4th highest grade among active Power 5 quarterbacks, and Wake Forest's offensive line also has a great pass blocking grade. Clemson's defense, I think, is also legit. They likely have 2 to 3 first-round picks on that defense. Miles Murphy, an edge guy. Brian Brees, linebacker. Trenton Simpson. We'll see. I don't know. Who do you like in this, man?
I think this is going to be a shootout.
I love the over.
I love the over, and I love Wake Forest +7. I think it's going to be at least within
come down to a
touchdown.
field goal.
I think it's going to come down to a field goal, or at least
6,
or it's going to be less than 7.
Yeah.
Maybe 7 even, and I push. So I'll go Wake Forest +7 over 55.5. I think it's going to be an absolute shootout.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, I'm not dismissing the fact that Wake Forest is better this year, right? Last year, I think they were better last year, but they're still good this year. And I think we both think Clemson's a little overrated.
Clemson's overrated. The quarterback sucks.
And that makes it hard to read a game like this because you look at it and you're like, Dabo, 13-0 against Wake Forest in his career. Well, those beginning games, Wake Forest was as irrelevant as a Power 5 college football team as they can be.
About when Clemson was competing for national championships, and Clemson was one of the best teams in the country.
Right, for
it was
that
like they
stretch.
were the only team that could beat Bama and compete with Bama because of Deshaun Happy Ending Watson.
And Trevor Lawrence. But also and
Trevor Lawrence.
But also Dabo Swinney's first 5 years there, they sucked, and they would have still played Wake Forest every year during that time. We'll see. I don't know. I love the over here. My gut tells me Clemson's still going to win. I'm going to side with history in this one. But yeah, I like Clemson -7, and I'll take the over personally. You'll take Wake Forest in the points, and you like the over.
Yeah, I mean, I still think Clemson's going to win, but
yeah. Would you agree that the matchup to watch here is Clemson's secondary versus that potent passing attack?
Just because I think that'll be the reason why Wake Forest is in this game and could possibly win this game.
Yeah.
I'm not counting Wake Forest out of beating Clemson. I think Clemson's going to win.
And Wake Forest is at home. They're home.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Wake Forest
pulled it out.
What are they called? The Demons?
The Deacons.
The Deacons?
Yeah.
The Wake Forest Deacons?
Yeah.
Deacons, Demons, potato, tomato, King, Casey. Same thing pretty much.
Shut the fuck up. What's the next one you got, King?
Moving on. Only reason why I kind of added this game on the list is because of this. I'm surprised on where the spread is. Number 17 Baylor heading to Iowa and playing Iowa State. Iowa State is 2.5-point favorites.
It's wild.
Over under sitting at 45.5. Like,
I
feel like this is a trap game. I'm gonna fall right into it. I do this every time with these types of games because the spread is sitting at 2.5 for a reason.
Correct. Vegas is usually right.
Vegas is usually right in these situations. I mean, my gut's telling me Baylor plus 2.5
Same,
and
yeah.
Baylor money line, but it's also I can see Iowa State winning.
Yeah,
the number's the number for a reason.
It feels like they're giving a lot of credit to not only history here. I mean, these teams have played some close games, but also giving a lot of credit to Iowa State's home environment and how that's going to go. I had to triple check this when I saw the spread.
Because that is a key indicator.
I think it's 4:30, but I could be wrong. It might be a night game. Let's see. Can never just find the answer when you need it, right?
Noon, Baylor.
Yeah, I like Baylor.
Baylor money line.
Yeah, I like
Baylor.
Baylor.
If you're talking about a night game, Iowa State.
Yeah.
The Baylor money line.
So a couple of just notes for the listeners here if you guys want some extra info here. The last 3 times Baylor and Iowa State played, the games were decided by 1 possession. Twice they ended in a game-winning scoring play in the last 30 seconds of the fourth quarter. So typically these games have been close. It could be a defensive duel. Both have better defenses than we're accustomed to in the Big 12. Iowa State's defense has 8 takeaways on the year. Baylor does only have 2. And Iowa State hasn't allowed an opponent to score multiple touchdowns all year. Plus, they have home field advantage. Iowa State was supposed to be a top 10 team this year. They haven't really looked like it. I still like Baylor in this one. I'm not. I agree. I'm with you on this.
Iowa State was supposed to be a top 10 team in the country.
Yeah. I'm not sure that that's what everyone was saying. Matt Campbell is supposed to. They have a lot of guys back. I think a lot of the preseason hype was that they could be one of those like, hey, if they go undefeated, they could make the playoff.
Right.
I don't know. We'll see.
I'm going Baylor money line. I'm not touching the over under.
45.5. I don't have a read on the over under. It could be one of those things where it's a defensive shootout, or like you said, there's a lot of points. Fuck that.
This next game I love.
A lot of history here.
20, Florida heading up to Tennessee.
I like how you said that. Up, not down. I like that.
And playing number 11, Tennessee. Tennessee is 10.5-point favorites. Over under sitting at 62.5.
I'll take the over.
I love the over.
Yeah.
I love the over in this game. Florida alone, I saw a stat. I think the last 5 years, I think the lowest point that they scored was like 20 something or 30 something.
Okay.
So I love the over in this one. And I like Florida plus 10.5. I just feel like that's too many to give in a rivalry game. I get it's in Tennessee and Florida sucks. Their quarterback has been irrelevant in the last 2 games. What?
Read that stat about the quarterback.
What, Anthony Richardson?
Yeah, the last 2 weeks.
Last 2 weeks, 24 of 53. That's 43%, 45%. 255 yards, no TDs, 4 picks. 13 carries, 28 yards, no TDs.
Now read the one right under that.
Right under that. Oh, he has 3 tackles
in 3 games
with no passing TDs.
He has more tackles than he does touchdowns, and he's a fucking quarterback.
Switch the what's it called?
The end
or linebacker.
So Tennessee's favored for the first time in this rivalry since 2016. It's the largest spread in favor of Tennessee in the last 25 years, but history's on Florida's side. Florida's won 5 straight and 16 of 17 in this matchup dating back to 2005. I think part of the reason why they're such favorites is how well Tennessee's quarterback's playing. Hendon Hooker, he's got 30 since last season. He's got 36 passing touchdowns, 7 rushing touchdowns, and just 3 interceptions. So he's electric, and he doesn't turn the ball over. So he's that's really good.
And I heard they're doing a checkerboard for the stadium.
Oh, are they? Oh, yeah. Tennessee by 1 million. Tennessee has held opposing quarterbacks to just 18 rushes for a negative 22 yards. So I don't see Richardson being able to scramble very much in this game. And I have kind of a bold pick here. Tennessee wins this. They could crash the college football playoff party. What are you looking for?
Trying to get back to where we were.
Oh, I said,
God damn it. Keep on talking.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say.
I'm flipping a coin.
Okay, like I said, I think if Tennessee wins this, they could crash the college football playoff party. If they win this game, it's gonna be a rivalry. I don't love 10.5. I do expect them to win, but Florida's just been so bad after that Utah game. It's almost like that Utah game's like a week 1 overreaction. Thinking
Tennessee minus 10.5.
Really?
That's what the coin told me.
Yeah, I've been going
checkerboard. The fans being in the orange, white, orange, doing the Tennessee checkerboard around the stadium. Tennessee minus 10.5. I might be regretting this, but Tennessee minus 10.5 over 62.
Fuck it, I'm riding with you too. I've been going back and forth. I'm like 10.5's a lot in a rivalry game, but I'm like, dude,
because Anthony Richardson has sucked the last 2 games. I don't see him coming back in a rivalry game and having a decent game. Tennessee's been playing pretty good the last couple of games.
Oh yeah, I mean
pretty much all season.
Yeah,
Tennessee minus 10.5 over 62.5. I just completely changed it. I just wanted to make sure I didn't have them down as my pick of the week.
Yeah. You're good. I agree. I also think that there's some juice here. Tennessee is going to know that this is the first time that they're favorite since 2016. So I think that they're not going to take that lightly. And Florida history might be on your side, but you don't got Tebow playing for you this time, so you got to step it up. We'll see. Should be a fun game to watch, regardless.
Should be a really good game to watch.
Next, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, this is another game I absolutely love.
Yeah, number 10 Arkansas heading to number 23 A&M.
Nope. They're playing Texas A&M.
Oh yeah,
the game is in Dallas.
Jerry World.
The game is at Jerry World, so it's at
Correct.
a neutral site game. This definitely impacts my pick. If it's at College Station, I might go Texas A&M.
Oh, but because it's neutral site,
Arkansas money line over. Nah.
Well, we didn't give that yet. Texas A&M's favored -2 over under 49.5.
Arkansas money line. I will say let's go under. I can see this game being like a 24-20 game, something like that. I can see a low scoring game.
So Bleacher Report has Arkansas, this 2022 Arkansas team that's kind of a version of the 2021 Michigan State team. I think their theory behind that is that like they could ruin a lot of people's seasons, and they continue just to surprise and impress people. The matchup to watch for is going to be Arkansas's O-line versus A&M's defensive line. Arkansas's strength is their offensive line. They have the second highest graded offensive line in the Power 5, according to Pro Football Focus. And one interesting note, 4 of A&M's defensive linemen were 5-star recruits, and they're all freshmen this year. So they're young and inexperienced, but they have a shit ton of potential. They were the 4 of the 5 highest graded linemen in their class. Arkansas, however, is dead last in the nation, allowing 352 passing yards per game. I don't know what quarterback they're going to roll out for A&M.
Texas A&M quarterback sucks.
Yeah, Haynes King. Yeah, Haynes. Right. Yeah, so I was going to say Haynes King or Max Johnson. King started against App State. He only had 97 yards passing. Johnson started against Miami and got the win, but even then, he was 10 for 20, 140 yards, and pretty much all his passes went to 2 receivers. But A&M has only allowed 2 touchdowns all season on defense. Over-under's at a great number. I like Arkansas money line. I'm not going to touch the over-under. If I had to pick, I'd probably take the under.
Under. This next game sucks. I hate this next game. It's a stupid game, stupid spread. Wisconsin heading to the shoe and playing number 3, the Ohio State Fuckeyes. Ohio State 19-point favorites. Over-under sitting at 57. What are your thoughts on this game, T? Sucks. Spread sucks.
Yeah, I mean,
you look at it, you're like, they can do it, but you're like, it's so high.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know, Wisconsin's defense is definitely better than Notre Dame's, but according to, again, Pro Football Focus, Ohio State has the highest ranked offense.
And Ohio State always comes out slow the first week of the year.
Yeah, I mean, and Ohio State's wearing their black jerseys and black helmets.
Ohio State minus 19 over 57. There, you just sold me.
Yeah, I think
especially in college football, I think jerseys matter. No, I'm serious.
Okay, I don't know that they do, but go ahead.
Think about it. You're bringing out the black jerseys. I get it's not like a big game, but it's still, you're bringing out a different jersey. I feel like your team's going to try to play up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the seniors and the team probably hype that they get to wear them. You know what I mean? Because obviously they don't roll them out all that often. I would say, to me,
how many points is Wisconsin going to score?
Well, I just feel like if they can run the ball and keep C.J. Stroud off the field, then I would like the under in this game. Wisconsin, I mean, I think they're only allowing like 8 points per game so far this year, so their defense is legit.
I'm going to change my pick. Ohio State minus 19, under 57.
Yeah, I like that.
That's so disrespectful.
I know it is, because it's basically saying like, well, they're going to beat you by 20, but you're still not going to get the over. It's nuts.
They're going to beat you by 20, and you're going to get 7 points.
Here's the problem: Wisconsin's run the ball 62.5% of their plays this season, and I would like to think that like Ohio State's probably going to stack the box and force Wisconsin to beat him in the pass. I don't see that happen. I like Ohio State minus 19.
So do I.
Okay.
Spread's just so disrespectful in my opinion.
All right, guys, moving on to the next game here. Number 7, USC heading to the Oregon State Beavers. Casey, this is a night game.
This is a night game.
No, you're good. I'll take your drink. Take your drink. We just had some technical difficulties. Casey's a little stressed.
You just like
USC.
Grab this, and you're like, "Hey, Casey." It's like, the fuck, man.
It's all good. USC minus 5.5. They're the favorites. The over/under set at an astounding 70.5 points. Just some quick notes for you guys. USC is ranked in the top 10 for the first time in 5 years. Their quarterback, Caleb Williams, has the second best odds to win the Heisman, according to DraftKings. Also, the duo of the Caleb Williams, the quarterback, and that wide receiver for USC, Jordan Addison, the transfer from Pitt, has been paying off huge. They look great. USC's beating teams by an average of 31 points, but they've played nobody. How do you feel about this game? What's your read?
I mean, both teams, I think, average. Excuse me, sorry.
It's a beer, man.
Beer burp.
You're good.
I think when I looked earlier, I think USC is averaging like 50 points a game.
Yeah.
And Oregon State's averaging like, Oregon, like 40-something points a game.
Yeah.
So I'm going over 70.5. I can see this being a trap game for USC just because you're heading to Oregon State. Night game, they're going to be rocking. Everyone thinks that USC is back. I think they are not. I think they are not going to say fraud. I think they are slightly overrated. Still think they're probably a 10-win team, but I think they're slightly overrated. I'm taking Oregon State plus 5.5 over 70.5, and I could possibly, not saying they are, possibly Oregon State winning this game.
So I'm going to disagree with you a little bit. I do think USC might be back. Lincoln Riley, they just look so good, man. Like they just hit the ground running and they haven't looked back.
Who have they played?
That's I know. I get that. Fresno State tried to keep it close, but their quarterback got hurt. Fresno State last week also, that quarterback there is going to be drafted. I can't remember his name, but he's good. If he would have gotten hurt, that game could have looked a lot different. Oregon State, by all accounts, people think this is probably the two best quarterbacks in the Pac-12 matching up, Caleb Williams and Chance Nolan for Oregon State. I think there's going to be a shit ton of points. I expect this to be an electric atmosphere. I like USC minus 5.5, and I like the over. I want Oregon State to win. I'm just not sure that they're going to. Do you think college football is better when USC is good, though? Like same thing like the Texas, the Miamis.
No, I mean,
just because all the history.
Just because of the programs and the history when Michigan, Ohio State, USC, Notre Dame, Texas, Bama, Georgia,
Miami,
teams like that, all those are good. All like the fan bases are there. Like,
they're super electric fan bases.
I think that's when college football is at its peak.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like that, like the whole Texas USC like mini rivalry back in the day when they were like the two top teams with Vince Young and Lionheart and Reggie Bush. That was some of the best football games I've ever watched. So we'll see. This is one I'm really excited to watch. This will be like probably the last game of the night that I watch. It'll be 10 o'clock here. It should be good. It's going to be really disappointing if USC goes in there and just blows out Oregon State. Both teams undefeated. I think this gives a lot of credibility, street cred, whatever you want to call it, to Oregon State, that the fact that USC is only a 5.5 point favorite, even though they're the seventh team in the country and Oregon State's not ranked. I think that Vegas, wherever you, Barstool, Penn, whoever you're talking about that set the line, I think they're showing some respect to Oregon State here. So I like the points. We'll see what happens. Definitely love the over in this one though.
Yeah, I'll go with the over. My gut tells me Oregon State
plus 5.5,
but I might be falling into that same trap with the Stanford pick a couple weeks ago, and USC could just blow them out. But I'm going with my gut, Oregon State plus 5.5.
Love that.
This next game, number 15 Oregon heading to Washington and playing Washington State. Oregon is 7-point favorites. Over-under sitting at 57.5. I just want to say one quick thing about Oregon because I kind of said that they were a shit football team, that they are garbage, and that Bo Nix is a horrible quarterback. I think that was a little bit of an overreaction.
That Georgia's just that good.
Georgia's just on another level than anyone else in college football. That Oregon's not that bad of a football team.
I agree. Yeah, I think that we weren't the only ones that kind of dismissed Oregon unfairly, just not realizing that, look, dude, Georgia's just different. Oregon's bounced back. They could have shut down for the year, mailed it in, said screw it, fuck it, whatever, and they didn't. So I don't know. Washington State also not a bad team. After the loss to Georgia, the Ducks have outscored their opponents 111-34. Washington State, however, has already totaled 1,000 total yards of offense, and their defense has only allowed 38 points in 3 games. The matchup here is Wazoo's air raid offense versus the Ducks secondary, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. However, I know you hate this guy. After struggling against Georgia, Bo Nix has completed 80% of his passes for almost 500 yards, 10 touchdowns, no turnovers, but he hasn't played in a tough environment since the Georgia game. I think this is going to be a tough environment for him, for sure. Oregon, however, they haven't allowed a sack all season. We'll have to see, but this is I got some trends for you, and you just let me do with these what you will. In their last 5 trips to Pullman, Oregon is 0-5 against.
Sorry.
Are you even?
The ball hit him in the face mask.
Okay. Got a podcast here, man.
I just thought that was funny. Sorry.
It's one of those things where does he have a visor on?
No.
Is it raining there?
No, it's not raining there. He just got hit in the face.
Did he just not get his head around it time?
He's-
That's embarrassing, dude. I was just fucking with you. I saw it. That's fucked up. That was a good pass, too. Was that Vatek that dropped it? Damn, I'd be pissed if I were you. Who got the ball? Oh, Vatek almost got the ball back. All right, sorry. In their last 5 trips to Pullman, Oregon is 0-5 against the spread. They're 2-10 in their last 12 meetings against Wazoo, regardless of where they play. So, I don't know, man. The history is kind of on Wazoo's side here. What do you think?
I like Wazoo +7. I'm not touching the over-under in this game, but I love Wazoo +7 in this game. I think they're going to keep it close.
Yeah, Wazoo 7-1 against the spread in their last 8 games versus the Pac-12. 5-1 against the spread in their previous 6 games at home. So I like that. And they're 10-3 against the spread overall in the last 13 games. So I'll take the points. Washington State +7. Over under 57.5. I'm not touching that. I don't know what Bo Nix we're gonna get. He's playing on the road, which we know doesn't.
But that Bo Nix that's on the road, that's SEC stadiums. This is a Pac-12 stadium. Who knows?
It's still gonna be a tough environment for him.
Who knows?
Yeah. I will say this: the reason I like the under is because so far this year, Wazoo has not scored more than 38 points in a game. So, and I think the only time they did it is when they scored 38 against Colorado State last week, which we know Colorado State sucks.
Right, yeah, Colorado State is horrible.
Yeah, so keep an eye on that. Wazoo's quarterback is very good. I don't know. I like Wazoo +7, and I probably take the under.
Yeah, I love the Wazoo +7. I just have no opinion on the over-under in this game.